Thanks, Deepak. Hi, friends. Hello. As soon as people talk about astrology, the first word they utter is fantasy, mystery, superstition. I used to get very much perturbed about it because I know for certain that astrology has basic scientific principles. Antagonists always say that with the advent of modern science, this is going to vanish. All these ancient sciences are going to vanish. But I think vice versa. And I have proved it with the advent of genetics, neurology. Now I have proved that correlation of astrology with modern science, which earned me doctorate degree. Critics always criticize that these are the dogmatic statements. What it means? Dogmatic statement means there is no basis to it. There is no scientific relevance given with that statement. Actually, what happened in the past, these statements were issued by rishis, but that time they gave method. Even in Gita it is written that it is given with methods. But with invasions and many other things, the other things were lost and only rules persisted. So we know the rules, we don't know the methods. So I thought I should find out the method that is known as Vidhi or science, which is behind these rules. So I started trying it, but it was very difficult. It was difficult because Machiavelli, who started his educational system in which he wanted to destroy all these olden ancient arts. Number one is Ayurveda, then yoga, then astrology. Naturally, people who were trained and educated in that, they were all thinking that if we start research on this, we will be treated as backward. So naturally, there was absolutely no research when I started it. So how to start about it? That was the biggest problem before me. So I was a Gita reader, so I thought Gita Path is the best thing. Now if you know the Gita, in which Arjuna asked the questions to Bhagavan Sri Krishna and he answers it. And it goes on, he goes on answering questions and questions and ultimate truth is revealed. So I thought that is the best way to find out the ultimate truth. So I started with that. I decided to become Arjuna. It was difficult that I get Krishna. But with modern equipments, now internets, with modern books, there are knowledgeable persons. So I decided that I will treat them all as Bhagavan Sri Krishna and start the research. I kept in the mind a statement made by a great futurologist of this time, Alvin Toffler. Alvin Toffler said, and I quote, "If I cannot write empathetically and precisely, it does not mean that I should keep mum. Whatever science has already revealed, I should take into use. But if there are no evidences, writers and scientists have right to rely on legends, experiences and ideas of knowledgeable persons. Nay, it's their responsibility." Ancient sages, these ancient sages were not only knowledgeable persons, they were certainly scientists of that era. They followed modern day scientific process. What is modern day scientific process? It is first thing is observation, second thing is experiments, then to form the hypothesis, to gather the information, and then when again experiments and finalize the rules. So this is the way in which scientists work. What rishis used to do, they used to do the same thing. Now latest example, we know Peter Higgs. He has found God particle in 1964. But there was nothing to experiment. He did that theory, but there was no experiment. The experiment is carried now in 2012 to prove that there is a God particle. But he has made that hypothesis way back in 1964. And prior to him, our own Indian scientist, Mr. Bose, has already said it. Even prior to that, in Upanishadha and also in Tukaram's Gatha, it was all said that there is something like God particle. So these are the hypotheses. They are to be proved. So that time there was no laboratory. This time also it was impossible. But he did that. And now it is proved. So what is this? Without any laboratory, without any to make hypothesis, what is this? This is what is called as Antarjnana. So our Rishis used to call this as Antarjnana. So making hypothesis was from Antarjnana, and then they used to make experiments. Now I can give you one example. Now revolution of Venus, Mercury, all these planets, that was found out 5,000 years back. And now Hubble telescope, with the Hubble telescope the things are done, and they surprisingly they are exactly the same. Now you all the persons might be knowing some astrology. In astrology, Guru, that is Jupiter, is a pattern, is a planet in which good effects are shown. Now Saturn, where negative effects are shown. So nobody was saying that this is something unusual. There is no experiment for this. So recently, Voyager, a space shuttle, was sent to Jupiter and Saturn to gather the information about the rays. And I tell you, all the scientists were stunned. Because the first thing which they got is that the Jupiter remits the rays. These rays are helpful for rainfall and positive things. And Saturn, the rays of Saturn emitted creates epidemics and bad things. So what is this? This was done 5,000 years back by our Rishis, and they had told it specifically. So I wanted to find out, still researchers, but there was no research. But I wanted it, so I gathered 50 researchers. They were not on astrology. They were on different subjects. But I gathered them because they were useful to astrology. One such research I will tell you today, and further in further episodes I will tell you more and more research is done. But today I just tell you one example, that Dr. Andrew Edison, he is from USA. He is a surgeon, and what happened, his nurse used to tell him that on the day of full moon the profuse bleeding is there in cases of surgery. He used to laugh at it. But one day his brother or relative was operated and there was a profuse bleeding. He could just somehow stop it. So he came out and asked nurse, what is the date? What is the tithi, that is? So she told that today it is Purnima, that is full moon day. So naturally he was shocked. So he said, let us go by statistics. So he found out all the record of 10 years in which about 95 cases were there of profuse bleeding. So he found out. So out of 95, 87 cases were near full moon day. So it proves that there is some relation with profuse bleeding and Purnima, that is full moon day. So there were many such researches, and I will give that. And I will prove that it's science. But why these people? Why these people criticize it as not being science? Because they don't understand what is the science now. Newtonian science they know. The Newtonian science is now going away. What is Newtonian science? Newtonian science is the laws of nature were derived from mathematical calculation and were treated as definite. Everything was definite. But no, afterwards all these changes. Einstein, Einstein, these scientists proved that these things were wrong. Even Stephen Hawking, a person like Stephen Hawking, has to go back on his theories. So science also changes. Science is not the same. It's a continuous process. It is changing process. So when everything is changing, how can you go for a definitism? So Einstein theory says that it's a probability. In humor, we can say that even 2 plus 2, that is 4. That's the answer. But no, by Einstein's theory, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, 99.999%. So in such a way, probability science is now establishing. When probability science is establishing, then why not astrology? Astrology is after all a probability science. So, but these people, they who know Newtonian science, say that astrology is the occult science. Actually, I am surprised with the word occult science itself. Whatever is occult cannot be science, and whatever is science cannot be occult. So it is not a occult science. I know for certain that it is a science, and it has a mathematical base, astronomical base, modern science base. Actually, astrology is the first science. Afterwards, mathematics and astronomy came out of it. When physics and chemistry was in rudimentary stages, the astrology was totally a developed science. So it is you can call it as ancient science, but you cannot call it as occult science. So this is the science in which probabilities are taken into account, and when you go out in the car, you start GPS. If you want to go for unknown destination, you start GPS, take directives and go there. Then why not to take directives for your life? Then if you want to go to some program in the evening, if it is open, you see weather forecast. So what is it? It is also a probability science. So what is the harm if you take help of this astrology and ancient science? Karma. In astrology also it is said with karma. Karma is action. Action you have to always take. It is not a fatalistic science. Action you have to always take, because it is based on the astronomical thing. In astronomy, what we see? Moon revolves around sun, Earth. Earth revolves around sun. Sun revolves around galaxy. Galaxy revolves around the universe. So everything is revolving. Even you take smallest particle, that is the atom. In that atom, electron, protons, neutrons, all are moving. So movement, in Gita it is also said that movement is a must. Without movement, even if you sleep, it is a karma, it is a action. So why not to do kushal karma? Kushal karma means perfect work. If you can do it with the help of this, what is the harm in it? Actually, saying a small example I will give, it's your life current, I can tell you. And your life can be calculated based on genetics. I can tell you a small story. A father and son went to sea for swimming. After some time of swimming, son asked, "What much I have swam?" Father said, "Nothing, you are in the same place." He was astonished. He said, "You go and on the rocks in the sea and see again." After 15 minutes, he again asked the question. The answer was the same. Then father told them that you are moving against the current. So if you move against the current, your progress is bound to be less. And astrology can definitely show you the current of your life, where you can go, what you can select, how you can go, what is your best period, what is your bad period. Even if you take into account all these things, all these directions, you are bound to succeed in your life. So this is my humble effort I am doing from so many years to help people to swim in the right direction, to go in the right direction. So I wanted, this is my mission as Deepak told you, so I wanted to go with it. So I found the AstroQuest Foundation, for which me and my brother are the founders, and there are other founders also, in which there is research, education and all other things. So in the education, we are trying to educate people with this program, and now with next episodes, I think we'll start actual episodes on 19th September, which is a Ganesh Chaturthi day. Ganesh is the god of intellect, so on that day onwards, we'll start regular courses on this field. Hope you find it okay. Thanks.